It is Saturday, August 21st, 2021, and this is the iPhoneography podcast. Hi, everyone. My name is Greg McMillan, and welcome to the show again. This is a special recording of the show. I have a guest with me today, and please welcome to the show, David Addison. Hello, David.
Hi, Greg. How are you, dude?
Good. How are you doing?
Feeling good. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming on. Now, this show is put out, we're recording on a Saturday just because the time difference between Dave and I is 5 hours. So I think it's a lot easier to do this on a weekend than it would be during the work week. So I guess we'll start off, Dave, by telling people a little bit about what you do and who you are and what you do.
Who I am and what I do. Geez, I will tell you how. I will tell you why I'm on YouTube and why I started my channel. I'm a photographer and I just love to help people. I want to use how many years has it been now? Since 2006. Is that like 15 years? Take my 15 years of photography experience and help people take the best picture they can with whatever camera that they've got with them. And that's what gives me a buzz. That's why I get out of bed in the morning, to help.
Yeah. So, so you've been doing photography for 15 years, but what about with your iPhone? How did that start?
Since 2018, I used to have a Samsung Galaxy S6, and all my friends had an iPhone. I was the only Samsung, and I forget why I switched.
You were the dreaded green bubble?
I was the green bubble, yeah. And I switched to an iPhone. I can't remember why, but it was this iPhone SE. And I really don't know what got me into. I just like the idea of making the best pictures with this little thing, and people not being able to. Like, people are so obsessed with gear. You know, you've heard of GAS, like gear acquisition syndrome, and I'm just like, I can't afford all that gear. I'm just going to learn as much as I can and take the best pictures I can with whatever that I've got with me. And it happened to be the iPhone. And I did a video, how to trick people into thinking you've got an expensive camera. That was one of my first YouTube videos, where I take my D800, Nikon D800, with a 14 to 24. It's like a very expensive setup. And I compared it to the iPhone, and I showed people pictures, iPhone or 5,000 euros worth of photography gear. Which one's which? And they got it wrong. So that's kind of what kickstarted my my iPhone photography journey, if you like. Go and watch that video, by the way. It's a really good one that no one's watched.
It's on your channel?
It's on YouTube, yeah. It's on like 2018. It's when I filmed it when I was living in Romania. So it's a very different scene. I look very young, even though it's only a few years ago.
Well, we'll definitely put a link to that in the show notes too, so people can get to it real quick.
It's very useful, especially if you're just starting out, because I disguise it as a beginner's sort of video, because I'm talking about the way to trick people. That's like, that kind of hooks people. The actual video is about basic photography premises, like composition and lighting and timing and planning and bit of editing and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I did that one time too with my Canon. I had a 10 to 22 wide angle, and I took photos I tried to match the best I could the angle of view from the iPhone that I had at the time, which was probably the 6S maybe, or the 5S. And it was it was getting harder and harder to tell the difference between the two. So it's a pretty good test. So you got into the shooting with the iPhone. The YouTube channel, it's just to help people get, the best that they can out of the camera. And did it start before you started using the iPhone? The channel?
It did, but it was sporadic. It was whenever the mood took me, a video would be created, and people were subscribing, and I was like, why are you subscribing? There's not going to be regular content. Just don't, you know.
Well, you know, you must have hit something, you know, something that everybody was looking for. And obviously
72 people.
Well, hey, that's better than me right now.
In like 5 years, I had 72 people subscribe to me. And every time someone will subscribe, I'm like, you're not going to enjoy your subscription.
Well, you know, but that's what drives you, right? Not necessarily numbers, but the fact that people are watching what you do. And when I first put this on YouTube, I wasn't sure where it was going to go. I mean, it's still nowhere really, but I thought to myself, like, I'm going to give it maybe 6 months. And if I can get, you know, a quarter of the subscriptions here that I do of the listeners of the audio, then, you know, maybe I'll just keep it going and see what happens. So, I mean, I'm only, I don't know, 7 or 8 episodes in. This will be episode 42. I should have mentioned that at the start, but I think I started putting them on YouTube at episode 35 or something like that. So it's early days for this YouTube channel, but like I say, what'll drive me is the number of people who actually subscribe or watch, and if they keep subscribing and keep watching, then I'll keep doing it. Why not? Sometimes I think it's better than audio only, because you could see what we're talking about as opposed to just hearing it, and it's sometimes hard to describe what you're talking about without actually seeing it too. So, listeners, go to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, sometimes, like, depending on, because I do enjoy a podcast. I've been listening to podcasts since like 2006 with like the Ricky Gervais show, and sometimes I like the audio, sometimes I like the video. It's good to have both, isn't it?
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm the same way. I've been listening to podcasts for years, and excuse me, I've got the Tiny Shutter guys to thank for getting me started in this, and you know, it's just been a fun ride all along. But so what kind of stuff do you like to shoot with your phone? Is it more landscapes, or, I mean, you live in England, where the landscape and the history is just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's just getting out to these places. I started my channel at the worst, from different perspectives. From a photography perspective, the worst possible time, which was right in the heart of, this is my Boris Johnson impression, you must stay at home.
Yeah.
So couldn't go out without being arrested and fined, which wasn't fun. But now I can, and now I'm going to places like I'm going to Devon and Scotland and all these beautiful places where I can, and that's what I hope to do with my YouTube channel. Hi guys, today I'm in Scotland, today I'm in Devon, today I'm in the Peak District, the Lake District, wherever, you know, and actually go out and shoot on location, as opposed to just in front of a wardrobe, which is where I shoot all my videos. Yeah. But in terms of what I actually like to shoot, I would like to shoot portraits. Portraits is what my passion is. If you go on my website, pasicomile.com, it's just full of portraits. But I'm kind of waiting for the iPhone to be able to sync to a speed light properly. I know there is one. Is it just one device at the moment that does it, and it's like really expensive? I forget what it's called, that lets you use flash with an iPhone. Sure.
Yeah.
It was on F-stoppers. Yeah, and is it Anchor? It's B something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I like landscapes because I shoot in RAW on my iPhone, and with landscapes, the noise in the RAW file it hides very well in the textures of landscapes. So yeah, I just happen to just take a lot of landscapes because that's where I live, really.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Landscapes are for me. Portraiture, not so much. I sometimes think I'd like to delve into it, but definitely landscapes for me. I mean, I wish I lived in the Pacific Northwest over here in North America, or in, you know, your part of the world, because the history and the architecture and stuff is just amazing to me. So let's talk a little bit about apps that you may use then to do your landscapes.
Mm-hmm. The app I'm using right now is Camera Pixels, because that's my next review. So whatever I'm reviewing becomes my primary app, and I think that's the only way to make a proper review. But before that, my go-to was Halide Mark II for the longest time. That just had everything for me that I wanted. In terms of quality, the app that I use isn't going to make any difference whatsoever because I shoot in RAW. A little tip for anyone listening: if you shoot in JPEG or Hike, and I'm sticking with the Hike pronunciation, by the way, I don't care what Apple says. Apple pronounce it Hike. I'm saying Hike. Let's make Hike happen, everyone. If you shoot processed, even ProRAW, the quality will differ between apps, and that's a spoiler alert for my upcoming video, by the way. And so, have I answered your question? I think I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any adult shooting RAW, really.
Yeah. So
depends what I'm reviewing.
And Halide is my go-to as well. And I think to your point where there's differences between apps when it comes to, like, ProRAW and Hike. I think the difference is just what the developer can get out of the cameras.
Definitely. And I didn't realize that. I just thought developers just have a checklist and they tick Hike and they tick ProRAW and that's it. The iPhone does all the work. Apple does all the work with its API. But it's not the case. And I've actually interviewed a few developers. Maybe the Halide developers participated. Maybe they didn't. You'll have to watch the video. And it's interesting what they told me about how they actually get the best quality out of these things. It's up to the skill of the developer, which something that a lot of people appreciate. I think developers are very underappreciated in the app store.
Yeah, definitely, because a lot of people will not get an app because they have to pay for it. They want the free version. They always want the free version. And I tell you, David, if I could add up what I've paid for apps since I've had an iPhone, it would be scary. I have so many apps that I've bought and paid for because I want to try them out. I want to use them. And then eventually something else comes along and it sits aside. A lot of them sat aside when they went to 64-bit only. And a lot of the developers either couldn't or didn't want to, upgrade their apps to do the new architecture. But I don't know how many I'll bet you I have up to close to 100 apps that are photography related on my phone, but wow. There's only a very small number that I actually use regularly. And Halide is one of them. Spectre. I'm getting into even longer. I just got to get my butt out and use it. Yeah. My ideal photo for even longer is waiting for just those big fluffy clouds to be moving, and then find an object that I can put as the center of attention and have the clouds just going pass one way or the other. That's what I'm really wanting to get, with that app, but I haven't had the chance yet because we just haven't had the right conditions. But you've been using even longer, and tell us about your experience with it.
I love it. I think it's phenomenal, and it's gotten even better recently. Working on a video about that as well. It's introduced. It's no secret.
You did a review video on it, right?
Yeah, which is a very surprising video because I'll tell you a bit about the backstory. I got an email from this guy, Mario Tomiak, and I ignore all my emails, and because I get a lot of trash from hi dear friend, I'm from corporation, blah blah blah, trash. And then if they email me a second time, then I'm going to look at your email this time. And Mario emailed me a second time, and I actually read it, and it was interesting. And he said, I have this app, check it out. I'll send you a free version. I'm like, nope, I'm going to pay for your app because I like developers. So paid for it, tested it out, and was just like mind blown. I couldn't believe it because I love long exposure photography with my iPhone, and I love shooting in RAW. But I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think it would ever be possible just because of the processing power needed and all that. And the fact that Apple's API didn't support the merging of the RAW files, because there's nothing to merge, right? It's just raw information. That's all. There's no file. It's there, really. So it's phenomenal how he's done it. And so made the even longer video. And it was my first video in 20 days on my channel. I'd really neglected my channel, and I thought it's going to get 5 views. It's an app no one's heard of. But it shot straight up to the top of my most watched videos within the first day, and it's still there now. People love it, and I'm like, what is it about that video that people click on it? Because no one's ever heard of this app, right? It's this brand new thing, but it's taken off.
And that's probably why. I'd never heard of it until you talked about it, and I thought, well, this is absolutely brilliant. And, well, this app is amazing because I love long exposure stuff too. I use Spectre, slow shutter cam. Those are the two that I used all the time, and I still will. But I'm even longer has put itself into that drawer as well. So, and so I'm going to link to your review on that. But can you just maybe in a tweet talk about how the RAW works in that?
In a tweet, how the RAW works.
Shane did that to you too, didn't he? I just remembered.
No, that's cool. I'm just trying to. I can't. You're best off asking Mario. I bet if you asked Mario, he would come on your podcast. He likes to talk, Mario.
I'll reach out to him for sure.
He's not going to tell you all of his secrets, but he will.
I wouldn't expect him to.
But he's quite open with the fact that he didn't invent the. It's just maths basically, and he didn't invent the maths necessary to get even longer to work. So he is quite open with that areas. Other areas he won't tell you anything. As much as you try and butter him up, he won't. Sorry, I can't really give you. I could tell you how frame averaging works. That's how.
Because that's what it is, really, right? It's frame averaging, and then it puts it into a DNG file or something.
Yeah, that's not how it captures the RAWs. That's how it achieves its motion blur effect, which is frame averaging. And frame averaging is not a new technique. It's been around for ages and ages and ages. It's just where it works on the principle that noise is truly random within an image. So basically, if one pixel is dark, if you take the exact same image, literally everything is the exact same. That same pixel will be a slightly different shade. And you take another image, the exact same, that same pixel will be a slightly different shade again. So even though it's the exact same photo, the noise is different. And when you layer those 3 or 4 or 5, however many photos on top of each other, eventually, not eventually, but the noise will cancel each other out, basically.
Right.
And that's how it works to reduce the noise. So these are genuine DNG files with virtually no noise. And if you take 4 images and average them, it's going to reduce your noise by 50%, which is a lot. And I forget the maths from there on, but I mentioned it in the review what the maths is.
Yeah.
How many images to reduce the noise by 90% or something like that. So even longer is taking thousands of images potentially. So your noise is cut by almost 100%.
And the amazing part is that he does it without killing the phone.
Exactly.
The 12 Pro models, they barely even heat up. Is that correct? I haven't done a long enough one to try it. I've only, the longest I've done is a couple of minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I had during my review, the iPhone 12 Pro was out in the sun, 23 degrees, which is hot. over here, and direct sunlight, and it was absolutely fine. It was still cool to the touch. Whereas the Moment app, and I love the Moment app, but it was red hot after it finished its long exposure. It's
wow,
amazing.
that's crazy.
And he's increased the performance in the new update as well. Whereas before he was getting 12 frames a second. Not sure what he's getting now, but it's more. And I haven't had a chance to test out the battery yet, but I will be doing. Yeah, I definitely get him on. I'm sure he will come on if you ask him.
Yeah, well, I'll reach out to him. I mean, you never know.
I'll tell him, dude, you ain't getting another video unless you go on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm basically his marketing department at this point, and then Shane is now too. Apparently, it's
yeah. Well, I mean, it seems to be working because the app it's getting a little bit of traction, and I mean, he's hit onto something that that people want, obviously, and I mean, just the fact that you can get a raw file out of this app is a game changer to me.
Oh yeah, and me too. That's why I had to make a video about it.
Yeah. So long exposures. Now you did a recent video too about comparing. There was one, I think, where you and someone else went out and took a bunch of shots, if I'm remembering correctly, and then come back and compared them.
Oh yeah, that was me and my brother. He had the iPhone 12 Pro. I had the SE.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, see who could take the better shots. That was around Christmas time. Yeah, that was a good video.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a fun one to watch.
Yeah, like I want to do more of that, but the hard thing is like just I need like a camera person with me, to film that sort of stuff.
Yeah. It would be a time-consuming effort, setting up the camera, then doing the shot, doing the walk-bys, whatever you're doing. And I could see that taking forever. And I think that's partly why I don't do a lot of stuff like that you do, because it would just take so much time and planning. And if I was retired, it might be a different story. I'm not there yet, but it must take a lot of time. So, but yeah, those are fun to watch. Okay, so let's see, what else can we talk about here? Do you sell many photos? Do you market them at all to sell?
No, I've not practiced photography since I left Romania. I left Romania in 2019, early 2019, where I had my studio, and ever since then, it's been, I've not called myself a photographer really since then. It's kind of interesting how people, I don't know what people's perception of me is, but like it's funny how they look to me for photography advice and things like that, and I'm like, I don't look at myself as like a decent photographer, and landscapes aren't even my thing really. I take landscapes, but because I kind of have to, and now I'm all about the video, which is so weird to me. It's completely flipped.
Well, I guess there's photographers who take the pictures, but then there's people who actually teach it, like you. Like you're oftentimes I see as basically an instructor. Showing people what the tools are, showing them what you can do with them, giving some pointers on how to use them, and then there you go, folks, go do it.
I know, but like I feel like I don't have the credentials to teach people, and I feel like I'm only one video away from being found out. It's like imposter syndrome almost, you know what I mean? But and that's the great thing about YouTube, and it's also a dangerous thing about YouTube. It's like, do your own, like be careful who you listen to. And it's great that anyone can make a video and put it out there. It's fantastic, but like there's a lot of videos I've watched where I've been like, well, that's not true. I know that's not true. Photography videos and that. And I'm just like, I want to encourage people. I might start doing it too. Like, don't just listen to me. Go out and do your own research, because people are spending hundreds of dollars on apps because I recommended it. People are telling me, dude, I bought Moment when you said to buy Moment. I bought Halide. I bought this app. I bought that app. I'm like, don't stop. Please stop. Pick one and then and use it. So I might start telling people, I recommend this app, but don't buy it.
Unless you, well, you know what I do is I'll tell people to do the research when, like, I've had people ask me, what app should I get for a camera app, let's say, and I just tell them, do some homework, do some research, go to each developer's website, look up the app, look at what it can do, and find one that suits you the best. And if that's, and usually they have a free trial. So if they have a free trial, go ahead, give it a go. Try them all if there's free trials, and then whatever one suits you the best, that's the one you can commit to. And that's basically what I tell people.
Yeah, definitely. But sometimes I think, because of the way I shoot my videos, like, I generally like every app. I haven't really, apart from Filmic First Light, I haven't given a camera app a negative review. So I make them all sound dead good. people end up
You
buying
didn't like
them.
First Light?
No, I hated First Light, and I still hate
really?
it. Oh, I don't hate it. That's a strong term.
No.
But,
yeah.
And it's also going to feature in another upcoming video about image quality. I saw something on Twitter. No, I do hate Twitter. I will tell you that. Hatred is an understatement. I can't stand that place. But I saw this article on Twitter someone posted, and they were saying Filmic First Light gives the best image quality of any app. And I'm like, well, that's bollocks straight away. And this goes back to what I was saying about be careful what you listen to, because it's just not true. And I've tested lots of apps for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I know it's just objectively not true. But it was just put out there on quite a big website. I think I don't know what website it was, but it was
Petapixel or one of those, or
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about First Light, weren't we? Anyway, yeah, but that's going to be an upcoming video about image quality, where I'm going to debunk that big time. And
okay.
Yeah, I mean, do you like First Light? Have you used it?
I have it. I bought I guess it's basically a lifetime thing now. I bought it, and then I paid for a year subscription, and then they got so much pushback on the subscription model that they put just a firm price on it. So I was grandfathered into the lifetime deal, whatever. So I have it for life. And on my Medium page, I did a walkthrough of that app, and that article still gets reads every month, and it's been on there since basically First Light came out. I mean, it's not getting hundreds and hundreds of reads or anything, but it's getting like a dozen or two reads a month. People are still reading it, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like it. I do like the app. It's not my go-to app. Halide is my go-to app, obviously, but I did find a quality difference in the raw files where Halide, I thought, was superior to the First Light offering. Where First Light excels for me is in the different looks, like the film looks and infrared stuff and things like that. If I want to play around with stuff like that, then I'll use First Light, rather than, because it gives it to you before you even take the shot. And you can't do them in RAW, obviously, but you can do them. You can see what you're going to get before you even shoot. Even the vignette around the edge, it's there before you actually take the shot. So to me, I find that valuable in when I want to do that kind of work. Okay, it's not very often, but at least I have that tool in the chest if I need it and if I want to use it. I do like it for that. It's a well built, well designed app.
It's got some nice animations. I like the loop animation, the focus loop kind of.
Yeah.
Animates in and out. That's my favorite part. I could watch that for a while.
And the functionality is good too, where you just swipe up and down to get the exposure, and side to side for focus, or unless it's the other way around. But that's the idea of it. So it's relatively intuitive to use, I think, but it's just not my go-to app. I'm stuck on Halide, and I think I've got camera pixels. Let me look. I'm
really enjoying camera pixels. Why do you like Halide so much?
I just got used to the interface and how well it does stuff. I don't know. I'm just struggling to find. I can't wait to see these videos that you're doing, because I'm struggling to find anything that does better quality, in my opinion.
They seem to know how to get the most out of the iPhone.
Yeah,
they seem very switched on.
Ben Sandovsky used to be on the Twitter team. He used to develop for Twitter, and Sebastian DeWitt used to worked for Apple in the design. Designing. He's designed things like the skeuomorphic look of the Notes app and things like that. He was involved in that part of it. He designed some icons and things like that, I think. I'm not sure what all he did at Apple, but coming from Apple, that looks pretty good in a resume right there.
Yeah.
And
I wonder if you met Scott Forstall.
Oh, well, I'm sure he has. I'm sure, because he worked for him, right? I'm assuming he would work for him.
He was the one famously behind the skeuomorphism.
Yeah.
And I remember when Craig Federighi they introduced iOS 7, and Craig Federighi went, "We just ran out of green felt." I love that guy.
Oh, he's funny. He's funny.
Yeah.
Like when he introduces things like a new version of Mac OS, and they'll show the wallpaper.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so have you seen those guys that they've gone around and tried to replicate every wallpaper on Mac OS?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And well, when they did Monterey, I think it was, he cracked some wisecrack about those guys. It was directed at those guys. It was either Monterey or Big Sur. Maybe it was Big Sur. And he said something like, "Well, let's see you get this one," type of thing. I forget what it was he said, but it was a funny one. But yeah, I have 1, 2, 3. I don't know if you can see this, but I have a lot of photography apps.
You've got the old school. You've got the neon darkroom icon. That's fun.
Yeah.
Can I see what else you've got even longer? First Light, I can see Camera Plus 2, Camera M. Camera M's a good one. The developer of Camera M, Sam, he's a really good guy. Filmic Pro, Focus. God, you've got them all, haven't you? Focus Live.
I'll just share my phone screen.
Oh, there it is. Wow.
There. So,
God, you've got it all, haven't you? You're all set up. All fancy.
Now I go into my creativity folder. And this is where they all live.
Flickr. I've heard of GarageBand. That's Glass, Halide. You've got the deep space gray Halide.
Yeah.
What does that LD stand for? What's that one? I used to have that one as well.
LD?
Yeah, one next to iMovie.
Oh, that is lens distortion, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Let's have a look. Oh, lens distortions.
If people are if people are listening to this now, they're going to definitely have to watch.
Yes, that's right. Yes, because I'm sharing my phone screens here. So
I used to use this one. Is this the one that gives you like lens flares and rain and snow and fog?
This is one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it looked familiar. I used to use that. Jeez, yeah, God, it's changed that. It looks well more advanced now.
Now,
Wow.
every time I look at an app that I haven't opened in a long time, I update them all the time. I keep them updated. And when I see how they've changed, I'm thinking, why haven't I played with this?
Yeah. God, you must be paying a fortune in subscriptions.
Well, this one isn't a subscription. Um, I've probably paid for some stuff in this. I probably won't pay for anything else in it because I don't use it enough, obviously.
I remember
Yeah,
this one.
that's
This one did have some in-app purchases that you had to pay to
yeah,
unlock the fancier. Oh, now it does video as well. Wow. I need to check this one out again. But app pricing is something that I'm going to be making a video about as well. Again, like I'm going to be having developers involved and giving their thoughts on app pricing because it's getting a bit ridiculous for me.
yeah.
All these comments on. I had one recently on my Glass video. What did it say? Not free, no download. Like
Yes, I saw that. I saw that interaction.
very nuanced. It's not worth
Yeah.
responding to. When
No.
I saw the response that I assume it's a he gave me, it's like, okay, you're not worth engaging with.
Yeah.
But every app,
Yeah.
he commented on the Even Longer video as well about the Even Longer's pricing. And you know what I'm going to mention in my upcoming Even Longer update video? If you want even, and I didn't mention this in my original Even Longer review, I cut it out. It didn't make the final cut. It was, if you want this functionality, this frame averaging functionality, it's available in a camera system. It's called the Phase 1 IQ4, and it's going to cost you around $50,000. So if you, and that's the only one on the market that will do it. So if you feel free, like if
Oh
you think
yeah,
Even
yeah.
Longer is expensive, whatever it is, then it's very ignorant thing to say, basically. So what, these developers are going to give up all their time and money, and like, if I want to do like a documentary on what it takes to develop a camera app and keep one running, and the time and effort and expertise and skill that goes into everything, just to be like, and at the end of the day, you put it out for whatever you put it out for, and people say it's too expensive.
Yeah. You know how you know how fast I jumped on Even Longer?
Mm-hmm.
When I got the app, I was so impressed with what I saw of it in the, probably 30 seconds before I went to the App Store about it. I went on there and I paid for the lifetime deal, even without even using it. I didn't even use the app yet, but I thought this looks like it's going to be something cool. And so I just immediately paid for the lifetime on it, which was, I forget what it was for in Canada. I should write these things down because all the apps that I have, I couldn't tell you how much they cost, because once you buy them or once you get them from the App Store, unless they're free, then it's all it shows is the iCloud download thing, if you want to reinstall it. So,
Yeah.
but I tend to think, I don't know, it was like $13 or whatever it was. I forget what it was. It doesn't matter. But I did that with Even Longer, and I've done it with Halide. I did it with First Light. I think those are the only three that I've actually really jumped on real quick and paid for without even really putting much thought into it. But and sure enough, they're really, really good. Like First Light has its issues with quality, I think, with RAW, but I mean, it's one of those apps that I'm glad I've got it, and it's mine to keep. So I always tell people, apps are cheap. You can
Oh,
buy a
big
camera
time.
app for the price of a Starbucks coffee or something like that. Like, and these people that develop them, that's what they do. That's their bread and butter most of
Exactly.
the time, and I'm never afraid to support them in any way I can. So,
No, absolutely. And it's the same with what I do as well. Like I'm the amount of hours and I put into these videos and that, and they're free. They're free for people to watch. So
Yeah.
if anyone's like ever feeling like cheeky or you know what, yeah, cheeky for asking for like a subscription or go to my Patreon, no, you deserve it. That's the amount of work that goes in. But I was going to say something. Oh yeah, wind the clock back, maybe 10, maybe a little bit longer now. But your yearly macOS update that used to cost you $129 US every single year. Now you get it for free, and you have done for numerous years now. I think since Mountain Lion, I think it's been free. Maybe could be wrong. And people just, I don't know, they feel entitled to apps for free. Maybe, I don't know. Just because
Yeah.
Apple can afford to give away their apps for free doesn't mean everyone else
Yeah.
can.
And they never used to.
No.
I remember when I got my first iPhone, I paid $10 each for Pages, Keynote, and Numbers.
Yeah.
So I was $30 in right there. And it wasn't until, I don't know, a couple of years later that they started offering them up for free as well.
Yeah, they were in
yeah, the
iWorks, weren't
operating,
they?
yeah. And the, and I also had to buy the versions for the iPad. When I got my first iPad, I'm pretty sure I had to buy them too. It's not like I could just download them because I had them on my iPhone.
Yeah.
So, but, I guess that was part of how they became $1 trillion company.
Yeah.
but you're right. The operating systems for the Mac, it was crazy how much they were. I wish they'd bring down the price of Final Cut Pro, because I'd love to try that, but I'm stuck on iMovie.
There's you can get a 3-month trial for free,
Yeah, but then it might end up costing me $400 because if I really like it.
I switched over from Premiere to Final Cut Pro just because I was using this 2015 MacBook Pro. That this was my YouTube video editing Mac, and then it just couldn't handle the 4K video from my Sony A7 III, especially not in Premiere Pro. But I don't know how Apple do it, but Final Cut Pro running on this ancient Mac, this base spec ancient Mac, very, very smooth.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a no-brainer. If you do any sort of editing, I would recommend. But you have iMovie, so you'll be getting the same sort of performance benefits.
Yeah, and I'm on an M1 iMac now.
You'll be laughing.
And so I can put together one of these YouTube videos, and if it's an hour long, it'll do its final export in about 8 minutes.
Wow!
So that's pretty good.
I've started to make my M1 MacBook Pro stutter. It never used to, but now if you watch some of my last few YouTube videos, I've been using like smoke effects and dust effects and things, and it hates them.
Oh, is that right?
It can't stand them. I'm layering these things. If you watch my Glass, it's not a review, it's a thoughts video.
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's a bit where what was it called? Instagram logo comes up on screen, and I've hand animated all that, and there's smoke effects, and there's about 10 layers of sound effects and there's thunder and lightning effects and everything, and fire.
Oh wow.
My MacBook Pro hated me for that. It took hours just because every time I click something, beach ball.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh no.
I had to render it. What is it? Control R to render everything. Because it just
really?
Play. And I kept having to export the file to watch it because it just couldn't play, even on best for performance.
Wow, really?
Yeah, So if I want to up the quality even more now, I'm gonna have to. I think I've maxed it out already. But people love that Glass video. People are commenting how it's my best video, which is really funny because I threw it together in a couple of days.
Yeah, that was me that said it was your best video so far.
Oh, was it?
Well, at least
Oh,
I
thanks,
was one
dude.
of them. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice
like
one.
the way you did the blending of their website over your video was just absolutely brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, it looked like something from Apple.
Yeah, everyone's going in that direction. I see now with their B-roll. They want the Apple advert, the Apple product launch look. A couple of years
Yeah,
ago,
yeah.
it was the slow-mo, the 120 frames per second look. Now everyone's gone to the Apple intro, product intro look, and be cool for me
Yeah.
to see what's going to come next.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I wonder
Um,
how many people invested in cameras that could shoot 120 frames per second just to jump on that bandwagon, and then the emphasis shifts, and then it shifts again, and all of a sudden, this is why like buying all this gear, it's just like don't do it because it just changes so fast. You
oh
never
yeah.
catch up to that void.
Yeah, it does. Do you ever do macro?
No, but Uskey Vision, I'm looking at it now. They sent me this multi lens thing that you put on your iPhone, and it's got two macro lenses built in. That's the only macro that I've done, but I do really want to try macro. Why do you do macro?
Yeah, I love doing macro. I've got a moment macro lens, but I have spoiler coming from
Oh
the
yeah,
glare from Struman
Struma.
Optics in Australia. Uh, I have a macro lens coming. It's the cinema line, and what's really cool about them is that you have your lens, but then you have another focusing ring on the lens, and I think
Oh
they have
yeah,
that if for their wide angle, for their telephoto,
I heard you
and
talking
for their
about
macro.
this.
And I can't wait to get this thing. It's en route somewhere between Australia and here, and I suspect it'll be here, in a week or two. Things are kind of bogged down over there right now, but I can't wait
Yeah.
to use it and try it. And I'm going to put it in. I'm writing a book about macro photography with the iPhone as well, and it's going to be definitely part of that book. So
All right.
I'm kind of holding off on some of the writing until I get it.
Oh,
But
nice. Yeah, you'll have to share what you find.
yeah, oh, I will be. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll be definitely talking about it on this show. And Mike James. Have you heard of Mike James in Australia? Smartphone photography training.
No, I'm so sorry.
He's Oh, you got to check him out. He is so good.
I'm gonna write his name
Um,
down.
he is so good at instructing, people how to do things, and he does it all with video. He's got all these courses and stuff, and he's just another one of these all around nice guys. We had a little chat on Zoom a couple of weeks ago, and he's just a real great guy.
Mike James.
Really good at describing how to do what he's trying to teach you to do. Yeah, he's really good. I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. And
Yeah, definitely. I was
he's
wondering
he's
about that focus ring that you mentioned. When I first heard you mention it on your podcast, I was thinking, what's the benefit of having the focus ring over being able to focus in the app manually when you just
I'm
use?
not 100% sure on that. All I can think of is that it could extend your range of focus, maybe, beyond what the phone will give you. You've got your range of focus in the phone, right? And
Uh-huh.
then it may be able to go beyond that, or even bring things closer. That's something I have to test to find out.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
Yeah.
and when
I'm waiting,
I
Greg.
get the lens, pardon me.
I'm waiting.
Yeah.
It's all on you now.
Yeah. Well, when I get it, I'm going to set up something that I can actually show it when I'm recording whatever show I do when it comes. Hopefully it's my next regular scheduled program, but I'm not sure if it'll be here in time. But when I do get it, I will have it. I'll set something up that I can do macro on, like a little, I don't know, like a little figurine or something out of the living room, and
Yeah.
I'll put it on my desk so I can do it right here and show people just what it does and how it works, because it could very well be the first time I use it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited. It's something cool. Now I do like Moment. Moment has great lenses, and I don't have my case with me; it's out in the kitchen. But I normally have my Moment lens on my iPhone all the time. But once I get my Struman lens, I could very well be sporting this case all the time. The thing I like about this case is that it's really low profile. Like it really, really hugs the phone nicely. Like
It's
there's my
funny
dog.
how it's funny how yeah, that's a great picture. How
Oh,
all the
that's actually a
manufacturers
light.
seem to use the same. All the distributors seem to use the same manufacturer. Oh wow,
Yeah, I put a
geez,
live photo on for the
you
wallpaper.
can do it all, can't you?
Now that little
That's
dog there,
great.
she passed away in March, so I keep that on there all the time just to remember her.
Oh,
So, but yeah, that's little Ellie. So yeah, we miss her.
oh, definitely.
but um, but yeah, like Moment is really good. You've probably heard on the show maybe before that I've sold my wide angle and my telephoto that I had from Moment. Now all I have is the macro and the anamorphic, and
Hmm.
I sold them because I find they just kind of soften the quality a little bit of the ultra wide and the tele lens on my iPhone now. Like it's just
Right.
they're just getting that good, these cameras. So, but like I said earlier, I can go on all day about stuff like this, but I think I better let you go. So
No,
it was really,
I'm
really good having you on.
I'm happy to chat for however long you want to. But if you wanna kick me off, that's fine. I won't hold it against you.
Oh no, well, you can ask me something if you want.
I'm
But
curious about lots of things because I'm very new to this. I feel like that scene in Captain America: Winter Soldier where Steve Rogers has got his little book and people are telling him things that he has to check out.
oh yeah,
You know that because he's been frozen for so long. Like the way I
yeah,
was
right.
writing down Mike James, then like I feel like Captain America, like Shane told me about you, and you told me about Mike James because I have been very much in my own little bubble for my entire time here. So I don't
Yeah, I
know
remember you
anyone.
talking about that. I remember you mentioned that when you're on live with Shane, and
Yeah,
I think I did a show a couple of episodes ago about the community aspect in mobile photography, and I
I
think
heard that
that's
one.
where, yeah, that's where like it just makes it such a good place to be. And this is all part of it, like talking about Mike and Shane and all these guys, like nobody has any qualms with anyone, which is fantastic. I just love that. um
There's no elitism,
sure
is
we
there?
Pardon?
There's no elitism.
No, no, no. Like I still look at people like this, like I look at you and Shane and Mike James and anybody else that does anything on YouTube about this stuff. I look at you guys like rock stars.
Oh, come on.
Because I'm serious. Like it's like the Tiny Shutter guys. Like when I first stumbled upon the Tiny Shutter podcast, these guys were like rock stars to me. Like, oh, these guys are talking about iPhone photography. Like I thought that was awesome. It was the
Yeah.
only podcast about iPhoneography that was regularly put out, and it's on the side now. Like Mark Sadowski is one of the co-founders of that program, and he'll put something out every once in a while, but he doesn't do it regularly. So it's not like it's dead. It's still alive, but it's just not out on a regular basis. But then that's when this show kind of took over that, because I was on that as a co-host, and he said, "Okay, well, you continue on yours and kind of do it the way we did Tiny Shutter. Just run with it." And I was so happy that he was okay with me doing that, because I love doing this, and uh, I just love having people on like you and Shane, and I've got a long list of people I'd love to have on.
Yeah.
And you know when I first watched Tiny or listened to Tiny Shutter, I thought, this is awesome. These guys are like rock stars. And then they asked me to come on as a guest one time, and oh yeah, sure. So I was nervous. I was a nervous wreck. I was sitting there shaking at times, but
Bless you. Oh,
um,
bless you.
never told them that. but but and then, as I was on after a couple of times, and then they brought me on as a co-host, and I thought, oh, this is really cool. This is fun.
Yeah,
So I just love doing it. And, the community aspect of Instagram is amazing. I have a love-hate relationship with Instagram. The hate part is because it's part of Facebook, but I do love the community aspect and the people that I've met on there. And, I wouldn't trade it for the world. And now Glass is, it's going to be very interesting to see where that goes, because I think there's a lot of potential there too.
It will be very interesting, won't it? Right now, it's not for me at the moment. I don't know if it ever will be, because, as I said in my thoughts video, I think they've laid down pretty much what the app is going to be, and they'll obviously add more features, but I don't know what they're going to add that's going to be of use to me, really.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these things aren't for everybody. I mean, that's a given. No. And
I'm not saying people shouldn't go to it and check it out and use it. All power to them, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, even Instagram isn't for everyone. Like, there's people on Flickr that say that's the place to be. They don't want to be on Instagram, but there was an app called Dayflash that I was kind of really behind, and it ended up disappearing. And I think it was because they couldn't really find a way to keep the funding going or whatever. And, I guess their business model just wasn't working out. So it just disappeared. They even put a notice out for everybody to, I don't know if people can still have their accounts or not, but I just deleted the app anyway. But, it was another one of those where the community was pretty good. And for me, though, personally, if there's not a good mobile presence, like from iPhones and other smartphones, then I'm just not putting everything into it. With Glass, I'm finding a lot of iPhone shooters on there. So,
well, what I want to ask you is, when you say you like Glass because of the community, is that right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I could see that it's going to be somewhat of a community aspect. And that it is what you make of it. Right. So the more people you follow that have, photos that are similar to your liking, that's, and the community part is where you start commenting. There's no liking, there's none of that stuff. It's just going to be solely based on commenting and that interaction. So, I've always said to myself, I need to comment more on people's photos, not just liking them. So this is an opportunity for me to get into that habit of actually commenting, as opposed to just, tapping a like or whatever.
I get you. No, I'm genuinely curious as to what different people find appealing, especially about this Glass app, because it's just a community of photographers. Right? Why else would anyone sign up? Exactly. Non-photographers. So what's what's the benefit? Do you know what? So you just like to see what other people are doing, and you'd like for them to see what you're doing? Is that it?
There's that, but then you couple that with the inspiration that's drawn from looking at other people's photos, right?
Right.
I'm always very inspired by what I see from other people. In fact, I've even actually gone out and tried to replicate an image like that, because I've liked theirs so much. I kind of challenge myself. Okay, I like that. Can I go and do that? And I find a similar situation, and I try to replicate even the edit. It's not that I'm trying to steal other people's work. I'm trying to make my own that is inspired by that. And if I actually copy somebody's idea, then I will say in my post, this was inspired by so and so, and I know I've done that a couple of times.
Yeah,
because if somebody sees their work and then they happen to stumble upon mine, I don't want them to think that one of us is copying the other. I want to give them full credit for their inspiration on me.
Ah, fair enough. Yeah, no, I'm just asking because I'm curious,
Yeah.
like why someone might want to pay a subscription for that. No, that's cool. I think they've been very, very smart as well with how they've generated buzz for their app. With this invite only thing and people begging for invites and stuff like that. Like, I think it's been very, very clever the way they've made it feel like, wow, I have to check this thing out.
Yeah. And what's ironic about Glass is that there's definitely a paywall. I mean, if you want to use it beyond the trial, you have to pay for it, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
There's no ads, no algorithms. Everything is in order, chronological order and all that stuff. But what I find ironic is I'm pretty sure I read that one of the developers come from Facebook.
Right. Probably. Yeah.
And I'm not sure if it was Tom Watson or the other, I forget who the other guy is, but one of them I'm pretty sure came from Facebook, and I'm not sure what all their credentials are. I'd probably want to look into that, but just to know that they came from Facebook, and then they completely reversed their strategy compared to what they came from to go to, no ads, all that stuff. That really appeals to me. I'm a very privacy oriented guy. I mean, listen to my last podcast about the Apple stuff that came out. And, I really have a high appreciation for privacy, and I think these guys do that quite well. So for me personally, I'm not going to speak for anyone else, but for me personally, that's worth paying every cent.
Yeah, I'm slowly I'm gaining a respect for it. Like, and it plus for me, it depends on who my data is going to as well. I don't want it to go to Lizardman and Rasputin, as I call them in my in my video. But if my data went to a developer who I liked, maybe I can. Maybe I don't mind. I don't know. Like it depends really.
And I think it's another thing that drives me to Halide is that they don't use any data.
No,
they have that respect level for their users. So, but
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, man, this has been a great discussion. I was so happy that you were able to come on today and tell everybody where they could find you. You
can find me at youtube.com/C. No, don't just search David Addison on YouTube. I'm the guy in the orange coat with the ginger, with the red hair, and I'm smiling like this. And you'll find me. If you want to make the best pictures you can with one of these, or maybe you just want to look at me or listen to my voice, I don't know, whatever you want to do, then that's where you'll find me. I'm not going to tell you to subscribe. You can make your own mind up whether you want to subscribe.
Yeah, I never jump on the subscribe thing either. Like,
smash that like button, guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
if they like it, they'll subscribe.
Right at the start of the video as well, people say subscribe. I'm like, give me a reason, man. I've just clicked. Why should I subscribe to you? I decide at the end. Sorry, I'm making your outro way long.
yeah, that's right. So yeah, and you can find me on Glass. I got my username at Greg. But look for Greg McMillan on Glass. You can find me on Twitter at McMillan_photo, on Instagram, McMillan photo. And of course, if you're watching, then you know where you are already. But if you're not watching, you could find this video on YouTube. On the channel is called the iPhoneography Podcast. And I normally put them out about once every 2 weeks, but this is like I said, a special occasion where I was able to get David on at a different time than usual. Yeah, he's special. So, gosh, thanks again, David. I really appreciate it. And you're just a all around good bloke, as Shane would say.
I am. I'm an excellent person. Well noted. And no, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. Stick with it. I've been checking out the podcast. I'm very entertained by it, very informed as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, like I can't wait for the next one. I'll come on anytime. I'll even co-host with you because I want to get into. I would love to start my own podcast.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. We will talk further in the future for sure.
Yeah. Who wouldn't want a rock
that'd be
star
awesome.
as a co-host? Did you hear? He
Yeah,
told me.
that's right.
That's going to be my bio now. David Addison, rock star.
Rock star. Oh, real quick. So you said you're at Manchester. Is that where like Man City plays and all that?
Who?
Man City and
You
Man
mean
United?
Manchester United, right?
Oh, so you're a Man U guy?
I'm
Okay,
about
I work
3
with a guy.
miles from Manchester United's ground.
I work with a guy who's Man City all the way, and
Really? Is he
I'll
from
be
Canada as well?
yeah, he is. He's actually from Toronto originally,
Oh yeah.
and but I'll admit I give him a hard time because I'm not a football fan, European or American for that matter. I'm a motorsports guy, so Formula One, and so that's my thing is motorsports. But he talks about Man City all the time, and I always give him a hard time. So I'm gonna have to tell him I know a guy who's a Man U fan, and I'm telling you, he was what he was saying about Manchester City is just unreal.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't follow football. I'm just finding him up. Tell him if he wants to come to Manchester, and I'll give him a tour.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, definitely.
he I don't know. Well, I mean, travel is obviously impossible right now, but I'll tell him there's an invitation. Let's put it that way.
Definitely a tour by a real live rock star.
Yeah, there you go. All right, David. Thanks again. I really appreciate it, and
nice
we'll
one.
we'll definitely be in touch.
Thanks very much. And take care.
Okay. All right. Bye bye.